But let's start with Real Madrid and Manchester City. It finishes 1-1, and my Real Madrid supporting friend said, "This is great. I love the fact that the away goals rule is gone. Second leg, this is like a final. You go in there, you win this game. Real Madrid, by hook or by crook, tends to win finals, and he's feeling really, really good about himself. Yeah. Should he be feeling good about himself?"
And my Man City friends saying, "This is great. Really good result. We take a draw back home. We played well. We didn't give them much, which is what they wanted. And now we go home in our stadium. We favourite to go through to the final, which I love. All I wanted, Gab, I was there. All I wanted, I didn't want a game that was too kg. It was kg. I think the two managers wanted it to be kg. They didn't want to take too many risks, which in the end, maybe if you were watching on television, you thought the lack of tempo and rhythm was a bit, maybe it was all too slow, which I completely understand, especially the first half. But it's just perfectly poised for the second leg. And I think that's all what people should care about now, is that we're going to have a hell of a game in that second leg.
We had a hell of a game in this first leg.
Yeah, but in a different way. Do you know what I mean?
No, I could be in a different way. I don't blame them about being caged. There's no question. Pep was more cautious than he would normally be. But, like, this is Real Madrid against Madrid. This is a Champions League semi-final, right? You're not going and playing an opponent that you're familiar with. You're not playing some mid-table side in England that's already intimidated by you. I think a lot when City play people, or when Real Madrid play opponents, they're intimidated, right? So I don't expect him to play a million miles an hour, take chances, not when you've got, Vinicius, the fastest thing on two legs. Although Kyle Walker, as we found out, is also pretty quick. So, I got no issue with that whatsoever. I did think in the first 20 minutes, and you were there in person, in the atmosphere, I thought to myself, like, how are they going to match Manchester City? Yeah. And they did. And they did with a very simple tactical shift. Real Madrid started 4-3-3, obviously with Rodrigo and Vinicius wide. And he moved Modric, essentially, kind of in between Stones, who would step, when they were in possession, Stones would obviously step into midfield, as we'd seen, Stones and Rodri. And all of a sudden, that really, really blunted Manchester City's ability to move the ball quickly and kind of asphyxiate them the way they had done in the first 20 minutes. Yeah,
that's right, Gab. And also Valverde's positioning, dropping next to Kroos basically to make a double pivot instead of just having Kroos as the holding midfielder. That worked because, Kevin De Bruyne scored, but apart from the goal, you didn't see much of him because I think Kroos and Valverde did a really good job there. And then for Modric, it made that City with Stones and Rodri also had to be very careful, and the kind of 4-2-3-1 worked better for Real Madrid in the second half, where they were a bit more expensive with the ball and put City under more pressure than they did in the first half. I mean, the stats of the half-time, with the 32% of the ball for Real Madrid, 115 or 125 passes, were really low. The XG is 0.06, the Vinicius goal, which was crazy at half-time. But you also knew that in the second half, would be different, would be better. And to be fair, I think Real Madrid scored at a moment where City were the better team, and City scored at a moment where maybe Real Madrid were the better team, which again sums up very well the game.
It certainly happens. Two guys we didn't see much of were the reigning Ballon d'Or and the guy who scored 51 goals this season, Karim Benzema and Erling Haaland. Maybe different reasons for those two. We expect them in the second leg to pop up, or is it just the case that both teams says we can't take a chance with these two guys?
No, I think they will have more space, more service in the second leg than they had in the first leg, where we said it was a big KG, although Benzema had that header. Second half, Haaland had the through ball where Alaba, the last ditch tackle from Alaba, and the one before in the first half on the De Bruyne pass. So it could have been different. But yeah, when we prepared the game and set up the game, we went, it's Benzema v Haaland, different profile, but look, blah, blah, blah. One is 22, one is 35, etc. And in the end, that matchup was a bit like, so let's hope for better in the second leg.
All right, we're going to break down this game further in Gab and Jules' podcast. But before we do that, after the first leg, I love my percentages. Yeah. You had City going through, I had Real Madrid going through. How do you say it?
Mine has even changed, 51-49 or 55-45 if you prefer, like slightly bigger for City.
I'm going to lean Real Madrid again. I can go 51-49 if you like. Yeah. For one very, very simple reason, right? Manchester City are on track to do a treble this season. And it's really difficult to do a treble. I think very few English clubs have done a treble. I think, in fact, I'm right in
just
saying
one.
Just the one, right? Manchester United. And that was in the last millennium. So if I ask myself, where are they most likely to derail? I look at who they have in the league. I feel better about their chances of winning the league than I do of winning the Champions League.
Yeah.
They could lose the FA Cup final, but I think they're overwhelming favorites for that. And so I say, most likely, they're going to go out. If they don't win the treble, it's going to happen in the Champions League. And it's either going to happen against Real Madrid or whoever they play in the final. And it's more likely to happen against Real Madrid. This is my rationale. That's the Marcotti method. We're going to talk more about this game on the Gavin Jules podcast.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.